Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Timothy Shockley, Dream Hustle Podcast. Make sure you go to dreamhustlecoffee.com. This podcast is brought to you by dreamhustlecoffee.com. If you have not been, please go patronize this. We ship to all 50 states. And so I'm super, super excited to sit with a buddy of mine, pro skater, Charlie. Thanks for having you.
What's up?
Yeah, yeah. And so I want to say thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on, man. And we're gonna just kind of jump right in. Just kind of give the people a little bit about who you are, where you come from, what you do. So,
Well, I'm originally from Mexico, in Tijuana. That's like pretty much about like 20 minutes away from San Diego. Um, I I guess you could say I was born there and grew up there, but I was basically raised here because I've been over there. I grew up over there until I was about 11, so I didn't really explore the city or anything. I was just a kid and only knew my neighborhood basically. But then I moved over here when I was 11 and been here ever since. So I think I like to say I was raised in Vegas, but originally born and kind of grew up a little bit in Mexico. At least enough to like learn how to speak it, write it, and everything Spanish.
that's what's up. That's what's up. So, how? Hey, said it again.
What's that?
I said it again. You kind of cut out.
Oh, my bad. No, I'm just saying, yeah.
No, you're good.
I was born over there, but raised over here, pretty much.
Right, right. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, you're at what age did you move here?
When I was
to
11.
America? 11. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
what was it? So what were those early years? Being in Mexico, was it a culture shock coming from Mexico to here, or like, do you
Yeah, bro,
remember?
it's very different over there. Uh, from what I remember, like apparently now my cousin has been over there to Mexico to where I'm from too, because he also grew up over there. So he's been over there and he said that now the neighborhood changed, now the neighborhood is nice. It's paved roads and everything. But from what I remember when I was growing up over there, all the roads were just dirt. We always had like the little corner store is just at somebody's house, and they just have a bunch of product they sell to the neighborhood, and stuff like that. But I guess now it changed and it's a lot better. It's more like my cousin says it's more like living over here in America, like all the houses are nice, everybody got all their stuff fixed up, and they're doing a lot better than from what I remember. Because when I used to live over there, I remember it being like all torn down. Everybody was just kind of like barely getting by on what they could, and there was a lot more. I guess you could say it was a lot more ghetto than what it is now.
So you said the corner store. You said the corner store is at somebody's house.
Yeah, like if you wanted to, there was a bunch of like people that'll just set up, a store in like their garage and stuff like that. But it'll be like like a legit little store. They'll have like all type of chips, all types of drinks, all types of like snacks, whatever, and then they have it all set up to where like they get. It's kind of like when you have a store here, how you have like a contract with certain distributors, and you get your chips, you get your beer, you get everything like that. They do that too over there, but it's just at their house. It's not like they have like a whole store or nothing. They just kind of make a little side of their house a store. And I remember going to those places, but my cousin says now it's like there's like a 7-Eleven, which it's a whole different name over there in Mexico, but there's corner stores everywhere that are more like the corner stores here now, which is like 7-Eleven and stuff, But from what I remember back then, it used to be just like somebody's house, and you just pull up, go inside this little room, and they'll have like everything, like a store,
Right.
Yeah, but then when going back to how you said how was the difference when I came over here to America, I was expecting something similar, but right away when we crossed the border and we started driving through San Diego, I was like, whoa, the streets are clean. There's grass. Like everything looks so different, compared to Mexico where you see trash everywhere and all the roads are dirty. There's like a lot of dirt and just garbage everywhere, because they don't have like street cleaning like how they do over here. So that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, damn, America is clean compared to Mexico,
Huh. You it's crazy, man, because I think with everything that's going on, even in America, I think a guy like you can be appreciative even of just clean streets
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, bro.
actually being able to go to a real corner store.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of Americans, even speaking to myself, I think we don't really understand the privilege we have in this country,
Right.
even just having clean streets or actual corner store. We can go to the gym. We can go to In and Out Burgers.
Exactly. And then you
You
know
know
what
what I'm
another thing
saying?
is too, when I over there in Mexico, you know how right here, like let's say you're walking and you're about to cross the street, every cross street has that button you could press to make the light change. Over there in Mexico, they don't have that. At least where I'm from, they don't have it. So you just kind of wait until the light turns red. And even like that, it's still kind of sketchy to cross the street because you don't know who's turning or whatever, you know? And then like
Oh
back to what I
wow.
said about the streets being clean, you don't appreciate it until you have to walk through those dirty ass streets, you know, and you have to when it rains, it's all muddy and it's just like puddles everywhere. And
Buddy,
yeah, you know, at least here they have some type of like drainage system, even though it's not the best, but it's some, you know, over there. And then from what I remember, since all the roads were dirt, every time it rained, it was just muddy. I remember having to put bags over my shoes to get back to my house or to go to the corner store, which was just like the neighbor's house, you know. But I would have to put bags all over my shoes and try to walk it like that, and try not to get stuck in the mud. And then right away when we moved over here, I was like, damn, every street is paved. Like there is no dirt roads over here, you know. At least not in the major streets.
right, for sure.
Or like in
The
the
little
neighborhoods, you know,
things that
like
we
every
take for
neighborhood,
granted, man.
yeah, all the neighborhoods have paved roads and they have nice sidewalks and whatever. Like all the houses have grass and stuff. And over there where I'm from, it was just like dirt everywhere, you know, and then like shitty houses built up with like whatever materials they could find, you know, and like there was a lot more abandoned buildings than there was like, you know, full buildings, I guess, or like buildings being occupied. But I guess like I said, now it's a lot different and all those houses are remodeled and then there's actually people living in them and the neighborhood had it cleaned up a lot. And I guess now it's more like here, you know.
Right, right, right.
I haven't been
The
back
the
in,
things that
in a
we
long
take for
time
granted,
though,
man.
so I couldn't tell you from experience,
But
but just
you,
from what I heard, you know, because my cousin went over there like maybe like 3 years ago, and he told me it's all cleaned up and real nice.
huh? That's cool.
Yeah,
I think it's nice to have. I was just talking to somebody recently about just having a we all have different experiences, man, and we all come from different perspectives. And I think society today they try to box us into a certain thought pattern, and there's a lack of respect for culture. And I think that's why I wanted to bring you onto the podcast, Dream Muscle Podcast, because I wanted people to get another perspective of another culture, another thought process, man, because
right.
it's different for everybody, and we have to appreciate one's culture and one's experience and one's journey. And I
Yeah,
think that's what makes us as people gel and connect, and so even as a skateboarder, we talked about it when we had dinner or whatever. I think that I love what you guys do in the sport, and I think that I can't wait till it continues to evolve, because I mean I think it takes a lot of it seems like there's a connectivity of brotherhood and team and family that when I went to Venice and saw the guys on the skate rink in Venice, and I'm like, wow, like it was a beautiful thing, man.
yeah. It's like
Wasn't
it's like
nobody,
one of its own.
you know,
Yep.
yeah. From my vantage point, wasn't nobody worried about egos. Wasn't nobody. I saw, the guy who did the crazy trick helped the guy who couldn't do the trick. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
it was a beautiful thing to watch, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, this is like life. This is what life should be. This is what our country should look like. This is what, and so that's why I was excited to have you on, man. And even just kind of talk about the whole skating culture and how you guys gel and the inspiration that comes from it and the thought process behind it. And even where you're trying to go with it, because I think even like my son, he's 11. No, my son is 10, and he just picked up a skateboard a few months ago, and
Okay.
probably one of the best things that happened to him, man. And he's into it.
Yeah, that's kind of
you
how it
know,
is. Once you pick up a board, and if you don't give up, because it happens the same to everybody, right? They step on a skateboard, they bust their ass, and then they say, "I'm done with it," and they put the board up and they never pick it up again. But if you're one of those people that say you fall and then you're like, "No, I'm gonna try to do it," actually, then you do complete it or whatever, you get to ride it. Then you get that feeling like, "Oh, I did this," and then you're like, "What's next?" Okay, now I'm gonna try to pop a little bit, or do a little wheelie or manual or whatever. Like, it's always about the next thing. So if you catch that bug and you just keep going and going and going, next thing you know, you're addicted to it and you just can't step off the skateboard. And then it's also,
right.
I think it's just also because it's one of those things where, like, you're so free to do whatever you want. Like, right off the bat, it's not like any other sport where there's an objective. With the skateboard, it's like as soon as you pick it up, it's a free for all. You can choose what you want to learn to do. You can choose if you just want to, like, if you want to get an actual skateboard and learn how to do tricks, or you can just get one for freestyle, which is like a different style of tricks, or you can get one for just like vert skating, which is like, pools or like big vert ramps like Tony Hawk and like those type of skaters, like, so it's, I don't know, it's pretty tight, like, because it's so free. You can do whatever you want right off the bat, so that's why I think people fall in love with it so fast.
Right, right, 100%, man. No, that's cool. And just talk about, even as we segue into this, but just talk about what inspired you, to pick up a board. I think a lot of people, and this is where I want to help people at, because a lot of people are afraid, even if they are inspired, they are afraid to do something out of the ordinary, or they're afraid to do something never done before. But I always tell people, you got to do something you never done before so you can get somewhere you never been before. So kind of just talk to
Exactly.
people what inspired you, and at what point did you realize, like, what, this is something I really want to kind of tap into.
Well, it goes back to when I was living in Mexico. Over there, I didn't really know what skateboarding was because I never saw any skateboarders, but I do remember going to a skate park one time and seeing the ramps and seeing the rails and the stairs and the jumps and whatever, and I saw it all and I was like, man, what is this for? Like, but I didn't know. I thought it was just for biking, for bikes and rollerblades, because that's what I saw out there. So, but I also remember seeing on TV snowboarding. I always saw snowboarding on TV, and I remember always being like, wow, that looks so cool. That's what I want to do. I want to try snowboarding. But it never happened over there. I was, like I said, I was a kid, and then once I moved over here to Vegas, in middle school, I saw a skater do a trick off the sidewalk, and I was just like, whoa, that's what they do with that thing. Like, I was pretty mind blown about the trick he did, because he flipped it. So at the time I didn't know what he did, but now I know what it is. He did a kickflip off the sidewalk, and I was just like, oh shit, that was like the craziest thing. And I was like, well, that seems that's I'd never seen any snow in Vegas, so I was like, well, I can't snowboard, so I'm just gonna try that thing too. So I remember telling my mom, like, hey, can you buy me a skateboard? Can you give me a skateboard? Like, I want to try it. But I don't know if it's just like a thing with Mexican parents, but right off the back, when I asked her for a skateboard, the first thing she said was, oh, you're gonna break your leg or you're gonna hit your head. They just go for the worst thing, right off the back, instead of like being open to it. They were more like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not, like, you're not getting a skateboard, you're gonna get hurt. And I actually do remember them buying me one, bro, but it was from the swap meet. And I remember it had plastic trucks. So those are the things that hold the wheels, and that's it's supposed to be metal, right? But the skateboard had plastic trucks, so I'm like, this isn't a real skateboard. Right off the back, I could tell it wasn't real, So I'm like, yeah, let's see how long this lasts. And then I was sitting there on my carpet trying to just like, do some, just ride it, stand on it, and it broke instantly. Like, that first day they got it for me, it broke. So I was like, oh man, that wasn't cool. So I'm like, nah, give me a real one, give me a real one. And then same thing. They were just like, nah, we don't want to because you're gonna get hurt. But eventually I was just like, man, what can I do to get one? So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna tell them to throw me a birthday party this year, and instead of telling people to bring me gifts, just tell them to give me money, right? So my mom was like, all right, I'll
Right.
make some food, I'll make some tacos or whatever, and have your uncles and their friends and your dad's friends from work or whatever come over. And so I heard her when she was on the phone telling everybody, like, yeah, he doesn't want no gifts, he just wants money. So just whatever you want to bring him, whatever you guys got. So at the end of the night, whatever, I counted up all my money and I had like $200. So I was like, damn, this is enough. I'm gonna get that skateboard. So my parents are all like, oh, what are you gonna do with the money? You could buy some clothes, you could buy some shoes, this and that. And I was just like, nah, you got to take me to the mall. I'm gonna buy a skateboard. And then my mom was just like, oh man, well, what are we gonna do about it? It's his money, so let him do what he wants with it. So yeah, the next weekend I told my dad to take me to the mall, and I bought a skateboard, and I remember I bought whatever the cheapest I can get. So it was just like a shop board. At the time, it was, I think, industrial. Yeah, so I got industrial wheels, industrial board, industrial trucks, because everything was like the cheapest things you can get, but it was legit. So
Yeah.
it was only like, I think like $120 or something like that for like the whole thing. So I still had some money left over. I'm like, sweet, that's good, So I bought my whole complete. I went home that night, and as soon as we got home, I got off the car and I started riding around. And I was like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to feel like, not like those plastic trucks, I mean, this is a real skateboard right here. And I started riding it around, and
Right.
of course, I fell a few times that first night, kind of busted my knee up and got that nice little scrape, but I was already hooked, right off the bat, I was hooked. I was like, no, this is cool. This is what I want to do. So yeah, pretty much from there, just started like talking to all the skater kids at school and trying to see like other skate companies, other skate shops, and like videos, like just everything I could find out about skateboarding. I was just asking all the skater kids at school, and I'm sure they thought it was like weird or something, because it was just like at the time I didn't really look like a skateboarder, and obviously I didn't know anything about it. So I was just bugging them like all the time, like, hey, where do you get your boards? What kind of board is that? What kind of shoes are those? Like, are those from like a skate company? Or, just asking all these questions. But I was just getting that knowledge, because I was so hooked.
100%.
Yeah, but then pretty much by the time high school started, freshman year, I already was like, I can consider myself a skateboarder. I was already like, I already knew a bunch of companies. I already knew like who my favorite skaters were and what companies I was like into and what boards I liked. So
Right.
then it's just, from then on, I just kept doing it and doing it. Like that's all I wanted to do. Right after school, I would just go home, eat a little something, and then just go right to the skate park and be there till they closed it, and then go right back the next day, go to school and go to the skate park. And that became the routine for, I don't know, my whole time I was in school, till I graduated.
You know what? That's interesting, man, because I think that, when I was growing up, it was the same thing. We would go to the park, we would go to the basketball park, we would find things. We were always just active, and I tell people all the time, like, for me, it was like football, basketball, stuff like that. For you, it's skating, but that kept me out of a lot of, I got in a little bit of trouble, but they kept me out of a lot of trouble, man. And I think that, I think it's important. I think you just nailed it, man. Like, it's important to really find something that you can occupy your time, that you actually find some type of satisfaction in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, and I think as you're talking, I'm like, I wonder if he didn't pick up the board. Like what would be the possibility? What would be the temptations? Or what would be the opportunities on the negative side if he didn't pick up that board?
Right. Especially like
school,
it just depends
to
too where you live at, because it depends a lot on the neighborhood you grow up in. Because let's say you're more fortunate and you grow up in like a better off neighborhood, then I guess we can't really say that you're gonna end up in a gang or doing a lot of bad stuff. But obviously it doesn't matter where you are, there's always like bad things you can get into, so
right.
It's always good to like,
yeah.
especially when you're young and you're so active and you're so full of energy, it's always good to get into something like that, something that's gonna take your whole time and your focus to try to get better at it,
Right, 100%. No, that's good. No, for sure. No, that's cool, bro. No, that's and so what, like, in terms of skating, like, where else do you, besides Vegas, where else have you been able to skate? that's been kind of neat.
I just thought he would take the back. Well, people that say that shit. Not really. I haven't really got to travel much with it, but I've got to go to like California and Arizona and Utah.
Yep.
I skated in Utah, but those are all like pretty close to Vegas, So basically, just where I can get to driving, that's where I've been.
Yep, yeah, for sure. For sure. When has been one of the best spots even in that you've skated?
What are you doing? Honestly, San Francisco, bro. San Francisco is like
you just came from there, didn't you?
City. Yeah, I was just out there like 2 months ago, but the whole city is just a skate park, bro. It's amazing. SF is like one of the best places to skate, just because they have hills, So if you want to just go fast, any street you go to is gonna have a hill, so you can just bomb any hill, just get on your skateboard and go as fast as you can. And then the city's pretty small, so you can, if you have a car, even if you don't have a car, you can still get around the whole city real fast because of the trolleys. And like I said, you can just hit one street and bomb it all the way to the bottom. And then there's going to be some skate spots there, They also have a bunch of good parks too. So for sure, San Francisco is like one of my favorite places to go skate.
Actually, you've been there a few times in the last little bit, or at least a couple times.
Yeah, I've been there twice. The first time I went out there, bro, was when I was 19, and that's when I found out like how awesome it was, to be out there, because I spent like almost a whole month out there, so I got to really like experience that whole thing and skate all around the city. I had some buddies that were staying out there at the time too, so they got to show me like all the little hidden gems of the city. Let's just put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
That city's full of surprises, and especially if you're a normal pedestrian and you're just going there as a tourist, you're definitely not gonna see it the same way as if you go as a skateboarder. Because as a skateboarder, you go where those people wouldn't, So you see all the stuff that the city really has to offer, and you get to experience all these crazy things. And if you do get to spend a good amount of time out there, you're gonna have some stories to tell after that.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So who else are you sponsored by besides Dream Muscle Coffee?
I recently got on about a year ago. Actually, it's about to be a year now. I got on the local pharmacy skate shop out here in Vegas, Pharmacy LV.
Okay.
And then I also got right after that, I got picked up by this it's like a smoothie place, and they sell acai bowls also. That one's called Liquid LV.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was pretty tight, because when I was younger, I guess that's all I wanted to do, like I wanted to like put videos together and send them to the skate companies and like get sponsored and the whole deal. But as I got older and started working for my stuff and whatever, I was like, man, it's cool like this, because I don't have to stick to a certain thing, like for example, when you get sponsored, you only get to wear that company or skate for that skateboard, or like whatever. Like let's say you get on a shoe company, well, now you only have to wear those shoes. But if you work for your money and you work for yourself, you could buy whatever you want, like you could wear whatever shoes you want. You get to wear whatever style you want, and nobody's going to tell you, hey, that video you got, you can't post it because you have a different hat on or a different shirt on, whatever, So once I realized that, I was like, man, it's cool to just do it because you want to, because it's fun. And, all the sponsors and all that stuff, if you focus too much on that, I feel like you lose track of what it actually is, at the end of the day. So you're more focused on doing something, and then you forget about the real thing, So I was like, yeah, it's cool. I'm just going to skate and keep skating and posting my videos and this and that. And then that's when I went out to Cali with the team manager for Pharmacy, and I got to really get to know him on that trip. And we skated. He recorded all the whole time, so he was pretty stoked on, I don't know, I guess just the whole vibe, like the way I skated, who I was as a person, and all this and that. And then once we came back, he's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that video. He's like, I think I want to put an edit together, or just maybe just release the clips on Instagram. He was like, I don't know. And then one day I woke up and checked my phone, and I see that he posted a welcome to Pharmacy edit, and that was to sponsor me and my other homie that had gone out to Cali. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
what's
pretty cool,
up, bro.
like
Yeah.
right when I was like, oh, all those sponsors and everything, it's whatever, like it wasn't a big deal to me. That's when it came around, and then like I said, right after that, I also got on the smoothie place. He hit me up. He's like, yo, bro, I've been watching you kill it. It's dope that you got on pharmacy. And he's like, just come by the shop and check us out. So I went over there to talk to him, and then that's when he told me he wanted to start a skate team too, so
That's what's
got
up,
to
bro.
chopping it up with him. And yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. Just because the same thing, I got to talk to him, and he was like, yeah, you're a cool dude, and you're doing your thing on the skateboard, and one thing led to another, and then I got on that too.
It's crazy, bro. Like, I know skating for me will never. I like the sport and the idea, and I will never be a skater, ever, like ever. I I can identify as a skater, but I'll never skate.
Yeah.
I gotta live my skate dreams to y'all, man. But I think it's cool, man. I think it's super cool, and I think you really have to have a level of confidence, man, to skate because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna make a lot of mistakes in trying to learn new things and go after new challenges and I don't know, jumping off a house or jumping off a rail or jumping off this or doing this and
Exactly.
you got to really get back. You really got to get back up, man, and keep doing it until you get it, until you make that land, until you land it. You know what I'm saying? And that for me is like, man, it really got to be. Really got to be a special person to keep getting back up like that. And that's why I asked you when we had dinner. I was like, how does it feel? Like, what is it like mentally when you didn't fell on your tail trying to do something crazy? Like, how does that feel going after it again? You know what I'm saying? Are you timid or are you like, I might bust my head again, you know what I'm saying? Or, so I do, it's just a crazy thing to think about, because I know even
Yeah.
when I play football and I tore my shoulder up, man, I wasn't the same player that I
Yeah.
was
You think
before
about
because I
it.
was,
Think about it twice when you go back
yeah,
into it.
yeah, there you go. Yep. You think about it twice.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Nah, but I think it all goes back down to like, um, if because skateboarding, I mean, you can, let's say you do a kickflip, like you land a kickflip right now and you get it on video. The way things are nowadays, a lot of people do that where they'll get something on video and then they never do it again. They never practice it again. But since it's on video, they're like, I got it, I got it like that.
Got it. That's
And
good. Yep.
with skateboarding, that's when it'll come back and bite you in the ass, because you think you got it like that. And then you'll go try to do that trick somewhere and you get hurt, because you don't got it like that. So you really got to put in your time. You got to put in all that practice, and of course you get hurt, but the more you do it, I don't know, it depends because the more you do it, of course, the better you get at it. So you can kind of say you get hurt less, but put it like this, when you get better at it, you also start trying harder things. And
Right.
with harder things come harder falls, so you get a hurt, but it's different, like back then when I first started skating, I remember I used to get a bunch of scrapes on my knees and on my elbows and on my back, and I used to fall a lot, and when I got better, obviously I got more consistent at doing those tricks. But now I'm trying to do them off of like 10 stairs or whatever, off a roof, like you said. So if I fall off a roof, of course it only takes one wrong fall for me to like be hurt for a few months or weeks or whatever, as to where back then I was falling and scraping my knees, but I could skate the next day,
Right.
just because
Right.
like, yeah, of course I was getting hurt, but it was a different type of hurt, it was more like, I don't know, it's funny because it's kind of like a beginner level of hurt, I guess
Right.
if you want to put it like
Right.
that. And then when you get better, of course, I guess you try harder things, so you fall harder and crazier injuries come
Right.
with it, but yeah, you have to,
Right.
if you work on it and you take your time and you work on your tricks, you kind of know what you can do, the more you practice too, the more better you get at judging, like, oh, if I get to a skate spot, I know how tall it is and I know how long it is, and just off of those two things I already know what tricks I can and can't do,
Right.
because I know
And
what tricks I can do going really fast and what tricks I can
right.
do like if something's really tall, I can't really do all my tricks. I can only do some of them, you know. And if it's just like a smaller gap or something smaller, then you know I can do everything or whatever, you know.
It's crazy. Ain't it crazy how us and our humanity, how we desire just more challenge? Like we'll do something, we'll challenge ourselves to something, and at
Yeah.
first we didn't think we can do it, and then we did it, we did it, we did it. We end up mastering it, and then it's like, all right, the thing we said we would never do, we start thinking like, I think I can do that. As crazy as it may be, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just never. It's like the challenge never stops.
It's
It's
because I
like
think
it
like
just keeps
once you
getting.
get there, there, you really see like that it wasn't really all that, you know, and you see how much potential you have now. So you're like, oh well, I'm just on to the next thing, you know.
That's good. Yeah, for sure. No, that's exactly what it
Because
is,
like
man.
when I first started skating, I can guarantee you that I never imagined that I'd be as good as I am now, you know. And now, obviously, like I can do what I do and this and that, but now I'm looking at other dudes that I'm like, well, I can't wait to be that good, you know. And I'm
Right,
sure they look at other people like, well, they're better than me, so I can't wait to be like that, you know. So like
right.
I said, it's just levels to it. But as long as you keep practicing and you keep, you know, working on it, you'll get there, you know. Because I
That's
remember when I
good.
first started, bro, I used to look up to these local guys out here in Vegas, and I used to be amazed. Like I used to think they were all sponsored and pro and this and that. And then now that I'm older and I've been skating for a while, I still know all those guys, and now I'm friends with them. And then when I talk to them about it, they're like, "Yeah, bro, I was never sponsored. I was never on anything." They say the same thing, you know. They were just focused on getting better the whole time rather than focusing on trying to get notoriety or you know popularity or whatever. They were just
Right,
trying to one up themselves, you know.
right.
And and me as a beginner, I would look at them and be so inspired by them, but I would already think like that they were hooked up and they were like sponsored and pro and like I said, all these things, you know, but
Right.
because they were so good already. But at those times, I was looking up to those guys, and now I'm skating with them, and they're my friends, and
That's
it's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, because I never imagined like, oh, I'd be doing all these things I do, you know. But
Right,
just
right.
and for a while too, like it got to a point where I got so good, and I felt like I couldn't get better no matter how much I practice. Like I don't know if that makes sense. Like it kind of came up to
No,
like a like if you were talking about a chart, like I went up, 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 and then it just kind of leveled and it stayed there for like a couple of years, bro. I was just like, man, I'm not getting any better. I'm also not getting any worse because I would still skate and I would still like go to street spots and still trying to film and stuff. But I felt like I just wasn't learning any new tricks, I guess. I felt like I wasn't like, I don't know. I felt like I just kind of caught like a dry spell, but it might have just been, I don't know. I don't know if I lost motivation. I can't really say I lost all the motivation because I was still going out there and skating and still trying to record stuff, you know. But like I said, it just kind of felt like for like a couple of years I wasn't getting any better, and I was just like, man, like that's when I really started thinking about it. Like, how could I get better? Or like, what am I doing wrong? You know, like I'm still practicing. I'm still out here all the time. I'm still doing what I used to do. So like, what could I, you know, like what am I doing wrong? But I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess I just kind of like kept doing it, like I said, and then one day I was just like, I felt different, you know. I felt like okay, I got better now.
right.
But
One of the
I
things that
also did. What was that?
one of the things, just to interject real quick, one of the things that that was said a long time. A guy once said that repetition is persuasion. So I think just repeating the same thing and doing it enough and doing it, you know, you really start to believe in it, you know.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, and it goes back to what I said. You know, like once you get so good, what that's I think now I figured it out, right? That's what was going on for those couple of years. I got so good that I was just like doing the same thing, and I felt like I wasn't getting any better. And then once I got back into my mojo or my wave or whatever, it's because I started trying to take those same things I was doing, but pushing them a little more, you know, going a little bigger, grinding a little longer, or doing, you know, instead of a 180, do a 360, you know, or whatever, you know,
right,
just trying to like one up myself, like I said. And
right,
then that's kind of what got me back on the wave. I'm like, okay, you are getting better, but you just have to push yourself, you know?
right, right. Yeah, 100%, man. You know, and I think that's what, you know, I just got to talking to a buddy of mine about just commitment, you know, and And I think at the end of the day, as you get better and progressing, I tell people all the time, nobody really cares until you do it. Like, so
Yeah.
nobody's gonna be like, oh, how did you feel when are you okay? Nobody cares. Like, people want to see the outcome.
Yep.
Like, that's what inspires people in a sense. Once they see, then they'll start like what we're doing now. If it wasn't for you doing that crazy stuff and skating, we wouldn't even be talking right now.
Exactly.
But I got to not only see the skill, but now I get to know, the character behind the skill, or now I get to hear the story, and that is even more inspiring than the skill itself. So I think, man, it's kind of cool to see people evolve and to express themselves, by them working on their craft and being able to. Because I think it's crazy, man. Like, it'd be crazy to just know we don't even understand the impact that we have as people. You don't even understand the impact that you have as a skater, because you don't know how many people have crossed your profile. You don't know what
Right.
kid right now is clicking on your profile and trying to do what you do on the video.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just crazy, man. Like, so all that you're doing is not in vain, man. And all the, like, everything, all the practice and all this messing up, all the falling down, all the, like, somebody is watching, somebody is learning from that, and somebody's been inspired, from what you're doing. So that's kind of cool to just know, not even if we don't even know directly, just know that, like, somebody's benefiting from this, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it's crazy because, like, in our time, we equate, like, success with, like, monetary things, like money and stuff like that, right? But
Yeah.
no, you can be a superstar right in your backyard. You know,
It just
well,
it
my
just
son go to
depends
the,
because like say you could be the richest man in the world but not doing something you like to do,
exactly. Yep.
or you
Yep.
could be. It all just goes back to what you identify as riches, you know
Yeah.
like what
That's
do you
good.
consider riches? Like if you consider money riches, then go ahead and get all the money you want and whatever, but you're most likely going to be miserable, or maybe not miserable, but it won't be doing something you like, and if
Uh,
you can achieve that doing something you like, then all power to you, and that's the best. Like, you did it,
right.
you won complete, you beat the game, you making money and you're doing what you want, all power to you. But
That's how you beat the game.
yeah, but
That's a person who's beating the game. That's a person who beat the game right there.
exactly, bro. You see, you make something out of nothing, but you love what you do and you make something out of that, you know.
Yep.
But
100%.
yeah, bro,
Yep.
skating definitely
100%.
teaches you that to not give up, and just keep pushing, and then one day you'll be where you like how I would look up to those guys, and now those guys are my friends, and we all skate together, like just like that, If you can dream it, you can achieve it.
100%, man. So what kind of advice, as we wrap up, man? This has been very good, man, and I think we're pulling information and inspiration exactly where we want, pulling exactly what we need to pull out of it. I want to really inspire people to take action on whatever their passion is. But what kind of advice would you give somebody that's like, I don't know if I want to go back to school, or maybe I want to pick up the skateboard, but I'm afraid, what people may say, because I've never skated before, and I don't know where to skate, and the only place I have to go is a park, and if I go to the park, I don't want people looking at me, like, so. What kind of
Yeah.
advice would you give somebody who's just at the beginning level of anything, who's trying to do something different, you know?
Well, right now, well, at least in skateboarding, right now, skateboarding is so open to anything. There's all type of any whatever you consider yourself, and you pick up a skateboard and you really like doing it and you really do it because you love it, skateboarding is going to accept you, and because like I said, it all goes back to that freedom that I told you about earlier. As soon as you pick up a skateboard, you can do whatever you want with it. And
Right.
if you're really passionate about it and you really get good at what you do with it, people notice it, bro, and you start. It's not like I don't know. I don't want to say you get accepted, because it's not like that, but it's kind of like people respect what you do with it.
Right.
So I don't know, for people that are trying to learn or start skateboarding or whatever, if they feel like that, it's only at first, it's only at first that you feel like all timid or all shy or whatever. You feel like you're not gonna, do it or whatever. But just as you learn how to skate and you get better at skating, it also works on your character. You develop a better mindset with it, because it doesn't just teach you. You don't just learn how to kickflip. You also learn how long it takes. So you develop patience. You
That's
develop,
good.
from repeating the same motion 100 times and only landing the trick one time. You learn how hard it is to fulfill that thing, and to get that satisfaction. So little by little, you're learning other things, not just how to make a skateboard flip around, and like land back on its wheels. You're also working on yourself.
Right. That's good. And that you said something key just right there, man. Working on yourself.
Yep.
And I think, I tell people all the time, love thyself, take care of thyself, do for self. And I'm gonna add what you just said, work on thyself, man. And I think that's the key, man. We worried about so many other things, man, but at the end of the day, we got to take care of thyself, and we got to make a commitment to thyself. And I think that's how you become great. I think that's really how you become great at anything, is making sure that you're doing, which when I play ball, it was like, all right, I can't worry about what the next man is doing. As much as I want to scream at them and all that stuff, man, I'm like, at the end of the day, I got to make sure that I'm doing what I'm doing. I got to make sure that what I'm
Focus
doing
on your
is
craft.
focus on your craft, man. Yep. And then hopefully, out of the abundance of me focusing on my craft, hopefully somebody else is inspired. Maybe the man I was about to jump down his throat, maybe he sees that I'm committed to what I'm doing, like regardless, and maybe he catches the passion. Maybe he catches the work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And so really, man, at the
And
end of the day,
especially
man,
if
it's
they
work.
could connect with you at some point, if they could connect with you
Yeah.
in any way, they how do you say it? They kind of like attachment with your story and theirs, and they're like, okay, if he did it, I can too. If he's this great, so can I be.
Right. Yeah. 100%, bro. 100%, man. And so, yeah. So
Aspect, not
that's
just in skateboarding, but also in like any type of whatever it is, art, music, playing ball, whatever kind of ball you play, like if you're more worried about what people think and what sponsors are looking at you and this and that, you're gonna get caught in that cycle, and you're gonna forget how good it feels to just score a goal or to do a touchdown or to whatever, to come up with a big painting or to finish to finish your thing, so
yeah.
you forget and you worry more about what's going on in the outside, which it shouldn't be that way. You should just focus more about getting good at what you do and then let everything else come to you.
100%. Yeah. People forget that they forget to have fun, man. That's what it comes down to. The
I
thing
mean,
that the
then
thing.
again, too, when it gets too repetitive, that's when it starts getting a little frustrating. But you just have to find, like you said, we're so addicted to one upping ourselves. So you just gotta one up yourself, and then there you go, next level.
Facts, bro. That's facts, man. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Well, no, man, you hit it on the nail tonight, man. And I know people are very encouraged and very inspired, and hopefully someone takes the time to really reflect and think about what you want most out of life. Dream big, keep dreaming big. Go after whatever it is that you feel like you need to do to create the greatest impact in your family and your friendships and your job, your business, and
Exactly.
never give up. Be committed to what you do. And just get those small wins. You know what I'm saying? Those small wins over time. Turn into something phenomenal. And so I just want to say thank you for coming on, man, and providing your wisdom and sharing your journey with us. And if you're just now tuning in, I'm with Pro Skater Charlie. Where can they find you at on Instagram, real quick?
The Instagram is at Sarlos Canches.
Yep. Yep. So make sure you guys, and we'll tag it here on. We'll tag you when we put up the video. Hold on one second. But yeah, so and we'll post this at dreammusclecoffee.com. So if you're just not tuning in, Dream Muscle Podcast is sponsored by dreammusclecoffee.com. And we'll put this up. You guys, please share this video. Please share the podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, all the social networks. And I just want to say thank you again, man, for coming on, man. And you guys are going to be hearing more from him. You guys are going to be seeing more from him, more videos, more everything. So it's gonna be a good partnership, and I'm super excited about having him on the Dream Muscle Coffee squad. So,
Yes,
like I
sir.
said, man, thank you so much for coming on, man,
Thank you for having me, bro.
And we'll definitely do this again, man. So much more to talk about, man.
Yeah, man. I was nervous, but this was fun. I can't wait to do another one, bros.
Yeah, we'll do the next one. We'll do it on Instagram Live.